All right, guys. Hey, it's Jonathan, and I'm really excited to announce our first winter camp. Might be a surprise for those of you guys who have listened to me for a long time that I've I've never done clinics. I've never done camps. One, primarily because I'm from Boston, but I live in Canada, so it's always been a little bit of a challenge. But secondly, I never really wanted to just do a camp like everybody else does. And when I go online, when people send me videos, when they ask me about camps or clinics, and they they just it's all the same. Now I was thinking I'm working on a book. I don't know if I'm ever going to get this lacrosse book finished, but I take notes every once in a while. Let me just share with you a quick story. The dedication to the book would go something like this. It would go to the lacrosse goalies from the 60s and 70s and 80s that pioneered the position. That would be the first thank you. And then the second thank you would be all of the coaches and goalies after that who just rehashed all the same old stuff between then and now. I, as you know, if you followed me for any length of time, I come at this with a very different perspective. I like to say, respectfully, I'm not just a lacrosse coach. I'm an Olympian in a completely different sport. I was a strength and conditioning coach for a really long time. I come at this with a mental performance background as well. I wrote a book on mental performance that hit number 2 in sports psychology on Amazon. But I love the lacrosse goalie position. I played lacrosse. I was a Division I recruit. I went to the Olympics instead. Long story, but I've been coaching goalies ever since. So when it came to running a camp or clinic, there's some inherent challenges to that. And I was always reluctant to do, because I wanted to do something special, something different, something that gave goalies a different perspective on how to play the position. Because as many of you know, the lacrosse goalie position, as great as it is, fundamentally has some flaws. We have some protection issues. We have some movement issues. Like we have a large net issues. Goalies are kind of confused between like, are they a midi in the crease or are they a goalie? Like, what is it? And there's a lot of really bad information that's just being rehashed over and over and over again. And it's this recycling of humanity every single year. College, goalies come, work at camps and they just teach what they were taught and blah, blah. And it's just, there's just not a lot of innovation there. And I look from my work at Athlete OS, athletespecific.com, and my Athlete OS program, I'm always looking at other sports for innovation and things like that. So when it came to running a clinic, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be the same thing that you've already spent money on with a different bit of lipstick on it. Okay. So I finally feel like I'm in a place where I can do that. And so I want to do it right. So what we're going to do is on December 10th and 11th. Okay. So hopefully those dates work for you. If those dates don't work for you, send me an email and let me know like what dates might work for you. But the idea right now is it's December 10th and December 11th in Hanover, Massachusetts at the Sportsplex. Okay. They have a fantastic combination of turf fields, basketball courts nearby, and office space, like a boardroom space, where we can do a little chalk talk, we can do a little movement prep work, and then we can set your goalie on a path. Because what I want to give your goalie, no matter if they're young or old, so this is a co-ed group, basically from 13 plus. If you've got a goalie who's 12-ish, but they're super motivated and they're super keen, I may be open to taking them. But the idea is we want goalies who have a little bit of experience, who are keen on the position. If your goalie's brand new, this may not be the place for you just yet. Okay, but we'll talk about that in a second. But the idea is we're going to run it Saturday evening so that people from out of state can come in. They can either drive in or fly in Friday night. There's hotels nearby in Rockland, Massachusetts. We'll put all those links below. But the idea is we'll do Saturday night and Sunday morning. And during that time, this is what I want your goalie to get out of this. Okay. One, I want them to get a fundamentally different idea on how to play this position. Okay. If your goalie is a lax bro and they're set in their ways and they're only going to be happy if they get shelled on by some college shooter with lacrosse balls, this probably won't be good for them. Okay. The idea here is I want to help your goalie understand the dynamics, the physics, the I want your goalie to be not a target but proactive. I want our goalies to be a threat. I really want to embrace this idea that we are changing the game one goalie at a time, and your goalie, yes, I get it, the goalie that doesn't clean the room, the goalie that doesn't empty the dishwasher, the goalie that failed math that last week, the goalie who's bugging you for a new stick for Christmas. Yes, that goalie is going to be a game changer. That is what we're shooting for. I shot a video recently about save percentage, my controversial take on save percentage, and how, most coaches are happy to just let goalies do the same thing over and over and over again and try to do it just a little bit better. You can't improve when you do that. And that's a business concept I learned from a book called Getting Everything You Can Out of All You Got by a guy named Jay Abraham. And he tells a story. I'm going to share it with you now, okay? And it's going to apply to lacrosse, so hear me out. The idea is this, that in business, if you have two businesses in the same category, what ends up happening is he calls it marketing incest, where basically one business looks at the other and they try to just do the same thing. They just try to improve on what each other's doing and then out hustle each other. Well, what happens there is you only get like incremental gains. Where you get big gains is when you look outside of your core business and bring those ideas in. And that's what I've always tried to do with Lacrosse Goalie University, with the goalies that I coach via video all over the world. I have silently coached goalies for over 20 years now, which is pretty damn cool, okay? But the idea is that I do it quietly. I don't take credit for guys or girls. I believe that they do the work. I'm just the guide. But I want your goalie to be the one when they finally get to college or beyond, or they go back to their team, that they are a game changer. They are attacking at this position with a different mindset and a different set of skills. That's why this clinic is going to be different than what they have done before. I've seen the same thing done year after year after year by a lot of the more popular camps and clinics. And I'll tell you this, they all lack a fundamental understanding of the body, of movement, of protection, of offense, and how to really make a goalie be a threat. Now, I can't cover all of it in one clinic, but I'm going to try pretty damn hard to in those 6 or 7 hours that we have together to really make a change, okay? To give your goalie an understanding so that when they go back and they play with their teams or clubs, or they get around other coaches, that they'll go like, whoa, wait a second. I came back from Lacrosse Goalie University from their Game Changer Clinic and was like, wait a second, coach, I want to try this. I want to do this. I don't want to do the same thing over and over again just because that's how it's always been done. Granted, there are some truths that need to be continued, but there's a lot of stuff about the lacrosse goalie position that I want to introduce to your goalie. Now, with that, before you get scared, I'm not going to change your goalie fundamentally. I'm going to open their eyes to some ideas that help them find their true athletic stance, their true level of play, an understanding of some concepts that they haven't been taught before. These are things that and tools that they can now go back to their clubs and their teams and they can test and tweak, all in the name of making more saves. That's the idea. Now, one thing you'll learn from me is I am not a status quo guy, all right? Our sport is stuck, the lacrosse goalie position is stuck in a lot of lax bro thinking. And it's still there. It's died off a little bit because I've been preaching about this for a really long time and it's trickling down. But the idea here is that we need to have our goalies understand how other goalies play. And we're going to bring those kind of principles in so that goalies understand some of the things that just don't make sense in field lacrosse. So what I want from you is, one, I don't know how many people I'm gonna be able to take in this, to be honest. Okay. Um, I'm happy with small numbers. That's totally cool with me. I'll be flying down from Canada to make this all work. And the folks at Starland in Hanover, they have become a great partner in this, and I'm looking to establish a long relationship with them in New England, and then as we expand, outwards from there. I've got goalies all over the country who would love for me to run a clinic in their backyard. I get it. I'm hoping that we can do this and we can get this close enough so we can get a good start and really make this work. Because as an Olympian, okay, as someone who was an All-American in high school and a Division I recruit, I know what it takes to avoid the noise and to battle through when people are throwing doubt at you. I'm a very positive coach. I want to help your goalie understand that what they need to improve on, and I want your goalie to leave from this with a plan, not just like, hey, mom and dad shelled out a couple $100 and actually more than just a couple hundred for this one, but the idea is, mom and dad have been shelling out a couple $100, here and there and there and there, and it's the same old stuff. It's some kid shooting from 15 yards away right out front, and it's just like more shots, just a different day. That's not going to be this. All right, that's not going to be this. And I want to make sure I have some time to be able to talk with parents, right, to help you understand kind of my philosophy, my thinking. And we will probably do that with some additional video like this before the clinic, right? And also, I would like to see video of your goalie before the clinic. So send that along. So that'll be the deal. All right, and plus I'm looking to do a lot of other nice stuff here. So if you just trust me on that one, I want to just get this video out sooner rather than later, because I want to I just want to get the word out so people can plan, right? And like I said, I'm happy with small numbers, but I really like a lot of numbers, to be honest. And I'm looking for the support from our community to finally go, I've been listening to Coach Edwards for years. It's time to finally get face to face and make this work. And so let me just to recap, your goalie's going to leave with an understanding of what they need to work on physically. And I don't mean just like they need to throw further. I mean like what they need to work on physically and things that they can either do. I just want them to have that plan, because any coaching, any technical coaching that comes without this understanding of the physical restrictions or things that are hindering your goalie, that's bad coaching in my opinion. And I really want to make sure that we get that squared away for you. Okay. We're also going to go through a little bit of philosophy, because I believe that, if your goalie just hops in the cage just one more day, yeah, whatever. A ball's a ball, a shooter's a shooter. They're going to leave and they're just going to forget it all. I want them to understand a little bit of the philosophy behind the way, our program goes and what we're trying to work on. Okay. So that they can go back to their team and understand, all right, in this situation, if I do this, I have a better chance of making a save. We will be getting in the cage. All right. But here's a little bit of a disclaimer. If your goalie is going to be disappointed if they're not shot on with like real lacrosse balls for 6 hours by college kids, if they're going to be that disappointed, I don't want you to come. But if your goalie can come with an open mind and realize, we're going to be using some tennis balls, we're going to be taking shots off our body, not so much our stick, things along those lines, if they're ready for that, then I want them there. Okay. And like I said, we will change their game, because I want them to be a game changer when they get home. That's the deal. So the first night, we'll be going through a lot of that. The second night, we'll be on the turf, shooters, a mix of tennis balls, maybe some lacrosse balls. We might not even get to lacrosse balls, to be honest, because there's so much I want to share with your goalie to give them the take. And I know that wherever they go after this clinic, they'll see plenty of lacrosse balls. I know 100% that when we take any sort of fear that a goalie has away from the ball, that we're going to be able to get them to get kind of into the inner workings of their brain to get to that next level thinking. Because what happens to a lot of lacrosse goalies, and this goes unnoticed to the kind of the untrained eye, is that, man, I see goalies every day hopping in the cage. They look great. They look like, hey, they got the pennies, they got the sweet helmet, they got the tilt going, they got the freshly strung stick. They're dripping in thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and yet in here they don't have the fundamental inner workings with which to use all those tools, and maybe some tools they haven't even thought about yet. That's what I want to get through. So in 2 days in this Game Changer Clinic, I'm going to be sharing a ton of information, right? A ton of information, and it's a lot. But the idea is it's going to be different. It's a different way to play. It's a different philosophy. Yes, there are balls and there are shooters and there are goalies and things are flying and we're trying to stop them. But underneath that, I want to give your goalie something that no other coach is going to give them. And that's why this clinic is going to be different. And it's why you're going to want to come back again and again and again. That's the plan. Okay. So, and after the fact, after the clinic, okay, I have opportunities within Lacrosse Goalie University where we can continue working together from a distance to keep your goalie on track, right? You may actually want to take advantage of my Athlete OS program. And as part of this, as part of the money you invest in this clinic, I will give you $100 towards our Athlete OS program at athletespecific.com, as well as I'm putting the finishing touches on a Ultimate Guide to Lacrosse recruiting program, and I will also give you $100 towards that. Now, if by the time the clinic rolls around and you've invested in the Lacrosse Goalie, the Ultimate Guide to Lacrosse recruiting program, then what I'll do is we'll work something out, or if you buy, like, whatever, I'll make it work. So with your investment into the Game Changer Clinic coming up in Hanover, Massachusetts, December 10th and 11th, I'm going to give you basically $200 in coupons, if that's fair. Okay. And who knows, by the time I get this out, maybe I'll think of something else sweet to do. Okay. But, don't delay. All right. Don't delay. There are hotels nearby. This is drivable for anybody within, I'm trying to make it work so with that if you're within like 3 hours, it's just like one hotel stay, that sort of thing. And hotels are priced very reasonably now. So whether you're on the islands, you're on Long Island, you're in New York, you want to come up, Maryland, you want to come up. I've got some goalies from Ohio coming in, I think. But the idea is I want to make it work for you. Okay. Yeah. And so I'm excited. I want to see you there. If you can't make it, I'm going to be disappointed. Please shoot me a note. Tell me why you can't make it. And because maybe I can take that information and we can tweak it for another one. But I'm looking forward to doing more of these in 2023 and beyond. But this is where, we have a community of parents, I think, who understand that the lacrosse goalie position needs to be different. And I am that coach for that. All right. I am that coach for that. I've worked with goalies that have gone on to Division I, all the way into the pros. And I'll be totally honest with you. A lot of those goalies, some of those goalies